It's one of the biggest scandals to ever hit the NHS. But today, those affected got one step closer to at least some form of closure. The chair of the Infected Blood Inquiry has called on the government to provide interim compensation payments to the family members of victims. The payments should amount to £100,000. It's a massive relief to campaigners who've worked long and hard to get this far.
I think for me, today means the realisation of a very big ask that we put forward in January 2020, which was for the government to begin working on a compensation framework before the inquiry ends, so that people can be compensated basically before they die in many cases.
In its first interim report last July, the inquiry recommended that victims receive a £100,000 payoff, in addition to the final settlement, which is yet to be determined. But Chairman Sir Brian Langstaff has today gone one step further and extended that payoff to bereaved family members as well.
As you know, the government has recognised that wrongs were done and that compensation should follow. My conclusion is that wrongs were done at individual, collective and systemic levels.
In the 1970s and 80s, thousands of haemophilia patients were treated with contaminated blood products supplied by the NHS. They subsequently contracted hepatitis C and HIV, and more than 3,000 people died. The treatment was imported from the US, and it was called Factor 8 or Factor 9. And it was made from blood plasma, but some of the blood came from high-risk groups like intravenous drug users and prisoners. Former Prime Minister Theresa May ordered the inquiry in 2017, describing it as an appalling tragedy which simply never should have happened. And while the wrongs of the past can't be undone, today's verdict is an important step in recognising the extreme suffering that's been endured.
Thank you.